What's going on, everyone? And hello,
Hello,
Nihon. This is the podcast where I myself, Christian,
and Clayton,
and Ehab.
talk about Japan. So you guys know how Japan is like heaven on earth? It's like the most best place in the world, and nothing is ever wrong with Japan. And if you're here, then you're like the happiest person in the world all the time, 100% of the time.
Yeah, I used to think I was unhappy, but then the chip in my brain malfunctioned, and now I'm just happy all the time.
I mean, if Japan's a perfect place in anime, then it's got to be a perfect place in real world, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I remember in Evangelion where everything was perfect.
Yeah. No, now that I think about that, I guess if everything was perfect, it would probably have a really boring plot. No, anime is not perfect at all.
No. Yeah, anime's stupid.
Yeah, I don't like anime.
But like, don't you guys love it? Like when you go to the beach and you see the pirates and you see that kid that stretches really long and he has like a whole crew with him. They're seeking treasure. Like it's so cool to see it. It's actually real what you see on anime in real life.
Call it what you want. All I know is I'm going to be Hokage one day. Believe it.
And I'm going to be Master Roshi one day.
That would be pretty cool.
And I will say some third anime reference.
What? Wait, why would you want to be Master Roshi? He's old, super perverted, and he's old.
Hey man, he's old, but he's pretty powerful, especially in the first saga. He was one of the most powerful characters.
He was pretty OP, and then everybody just completely surpassed him.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, of course, we're just joking around.
Master Roshi is the best.
He is.
He
yeah.
is the best. That's exactly what I was going to say. No, but as much as we all love Japan and we've been here for a couple years, and I think it's pretty safe to call Japan our home for a while. I would be lying if I did call this a perfect place, because it is life. Everywhere you go in the world, they say that you can't just move to a foreign country and have no problems. Whatever problems you have in your country, you're just bringing that with you to another country. So we thought it'd be kind of nice to just chit-chat about how we keep our sanity in Japan, because mental health is super important and it's not talked about enough. So, I mean, is there anything that you guys want to share about that?
Okay.
No.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like, coming to Japan, like, sure, I had like certain views because, like, or certain expectations, because I did watch a little anime and I've read some things about Japan, but it's so different from the expectations you have before you visit a country versus when you go there and like actually live there. Your mind completely changed about how you view the country, and I would say one of the first things, obviously it's the language barrier. You'll notice that not many people can speak English, and that can be stressful, and it can be really hard for you to communicate with other people. And I would say like learning Japanese did help me a lot, and I would say to some extent helped with my sanity, because I was able to meet people, able to participate in like local events using like even if it's like some basic Japanese. Learning the very basics can get you a long way and help you actually socialize with people and keep yourself occupied.
I'm going to go the total opposite route and say, because of my lack of knowledge of Japanese, I've been isolated to a point of near insanity. But how do I cope, you ask? I don't. I just try to fill in the times with as many hobbies as I can.
What do you do?
I mean, that is coping, though.
There we go.
Keeping yourself active and keeping your head in the game. Got to get your head in the game.
Yes.
But what do you do? Like Ehab said.
I have joined a high school musical band, and I don't know any of the songs, so I can't reference them. I started gardening. I started making different recipes. I started volleyball. All these weird little hobbies that I would have never had time in America to do. But now, since I'm here and have so much free time, I'm going to try as many hobbies as I can till I find one that I really like, and that's volleyball. But yeah.
So do you have a high school rock band going on?
No, it's a high school musical band.
Oh.
I think he's making a reference to my High School Musical song.
Exactly it.
Yeah, no, but I definitely think everything you said is super important, especially because where you live, it snows like 8 to 10 months of the year, and there's some weeks when you don't even get to go outside because it's just so much snow. I could only imagine what you go through because I know for a fact I would lose it out there. Do you like keep in contact with friends and talk to family and stuff like that too, or do you just talk to yourself all day in your house?
No, you'd be surprised how quiet this house is. It is like silent. Because I don't talk to myself at all. What's the point? I can just think in my head.
Wait, I thought you always talk to your friend Alfred, the snowman outside every day.
No, you silly goose. His name is Frosty. The snowman. Come on. I've talked about him enough times. Even on this podcast. You guys remember, right? Listeners? You remember Frosty?
How's he doing?
He died.
Why?
The weather.
Oh.
It's okay. Frosty 3 will be coming back. The Revenge. The 2 months out of the year.
For you, it's very different because, like, you live in, I would have said a completely isolated area, but you do live in almost the middle of nowhere, and you have a lot of snowy, how can I say, a lot of snow. We don't really experience that because, like, we live in the city. So I'm curious too as well. Like during that time, like how do you keep yourself occupied?
I don't know, and I don't think I do. I started sewing too, so that happens. I listen to a lot of podcasts. Yeah, because there'll just be like some weeks where it's just we're snowed in and school's canceled. Just stay inside.
Mm-hmm.
To some extent, it must be really nice to have so much downtime to like just study and learn more about yourself. Because I know for a lot of people who live around a lot of friends and stuff, it's always like, hey, let's hang out, and it's hard to get a lot of your own personal work done. Yeah. So do you feel like you have a lot of time to, I mean, you said you listen to a lot of podcasts. Do you feel like you're always able to kind of exercise your mind and learn a lot out there?
Oh God, no. I'm getting dumber and dumber as the days go by. Because I'm not even using my language, and I'm also not learning Japanese. So I can literally feel myself getting stupider and stupider every day. It's amazing.
But you're getting smarter in other things though, because like even though you're not improving in your how can I say it? What is the word for your language skills?
Language skills.
I guess, yeah. Even though you're not improving your language skills, you are improving, how can I say it? Your capacity to do other hobbies, like new hobbies, because you're doing new things that you never did before. So I feel like you're improving, and, you know, you're just not improving other areas that you'd like to, because, you know, you don't use the language.
Yeah. I need to move to a big city where I'll talk to people. Oh my God. When I visited you guys, and there was people, was amazing.
It must have been nice, like, talking to actual people instead of a snowman.
It was. I mean, he's been dead. I can't talk to a ghost of a snowman. That would make me crazy.
Ghosty.
Ghosty. Oh, man.
But yeah,
like, no, it helps to talk to people.
It does, yeah.
Nice.
And, like, I don't know about you guys, but, like, when I came to Japan, like, there's so many things different here than America that, I had to adapt. Like, if I didn't adapt, I would definitely lose my mind because I can't live the same way I did in America. Like, you have to find a new way that works for you, find the right balance. And, like, to elaborate on that, like, for example, in America, like, you know, I think we're all in the same scenario. We were all college students before we came to Japan. So we had classes, we'd go to school, see friends, you know. After that, go home, maybe do homework, maybe hang out with friends. But once you come to Japan, that whole lifestyle will change. You're going to start working here. You're going to start being around people that, you know, you've never met before. You're going to be in an environment that's completely different. Like, you need to be okay with accepting this new change and kind of get out of that bubble that you're used to, you know, before coming to Japan, and try to, like, explore and learn new things. And that'll get you a long way, I feel like.
Yeah. And realize a lot of people here don't have time for, like, anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember back at our college, we had like some exchange students, and I remember talking to them and thinking like, oh, so this is, you know, how Japanese culture is. And then after moving to Japan, it kind of hit me that what I had imagined Japanese culture was actually Japanese people who were super interested in America, so much so that they went to America. So those people were always like a little bit different than I would say how like most people are here. And so just kind of going off of your idea earlier, I feel like I had a set idea of how people are supposed to be in Japan, that when I came here and people weren't the way I thought they would be, it kind of threw me off. And learning how to adapt with new, like people from a new environment can be a little bit tricky. There's certain things where it's like, oh wow, everybody else is doing this, so I feel like it's probably best that I do this so I don't stand out. And it's sometimes easier said than done. I noticed that there are a couple things that about Japanese culture that don't make sense to me, and I don't want to stand out, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree with what everybody else is doing. So I feel like sometimes that can kind of drive me insane. Do you guys have any experiences with this at all?
Do you have one on the top of your head, Clayton?
I'm usually fine with standing out because I know I'm going to do that anyway, and I'm loud, and yeah, I mean, I have made adjustments. I've switched the way I laugh.
Wait,
so
what?
I've adjusted the way I laugh. I don't laugh the same as I did in America.
He covers his mouth when he laughs now.
Wait, why?
No, I literally don't do that. I literally switched the way I laugh. Yeah, because before
why?
I laughed like it was fucking a booming laugh, but you can't do that in Japan.
Or like laugh really loud?
Yeah, no. So now I switched it instead of like ha ha ha. Exactly. So now I don't frighten the Japanese people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you don't like that, you're saying?
No, I said I've made adjustments. I'm indifferent to it. I'm gonna laugh regardless.
No, I know, but if you could just like laugh the way you always did, would you prefer that, or it doesn't matter? You're okay with either?
I've switched it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about something today. So I noticed in Japan, if you go to a restaurant or if you're on the train, it's extremely rude to talk to someone on the phone. But I also noticed if two people go to a restaurant or if two people ride the train together, everybody can talk and that's totally culturally acceptable. But the second someone pulls out their phone and starts whispering to someone else on the phone, everybody will just start to stare at you. And it'll kind of, I don't know, at least for me, it puts a lot of pressure on me like, oh man, I can't talk on the phone right now. But even though I'm talking quieter than the two people that are standing next to me having a conversation. And it's like little things like that that don't make sense to me, and it kind of drives me insane. Like, am I the only one that like understands why this is weird, or is there something that I'm not getting?
Right.
Yeah, I don't get that either, because like sometimes I actually do see people on their phone on the train. It's really rare, but I do see it. But I don't see everyone staring at them, surprisingly. Maybe because I'm more, I wouldn't say I'm in super countryside, but maybe I'm more of the countryside compared to you. Like more, maybe more in the bigger cities, people look at you. Which I feel like it should be the other way around, but yeah.
I saw someone talking on the phone the other day, and like there was this salaryman standing right next to him, and he just started screaming at the person on the phone, like, it's so rude to talk on the phone, yeah, rah, rah, rah. And it was just like, it was so unnecessary because people right across the little train car from us were having like a big old conversation. And I mean, and this is only like one example, but there's a lot of different things that just don't really make sense to me. And sometimes it kind of puts me in a position where it's like, I don't know if I should just do what everybody else is doing, even though I don't believe in that. Because I am the visitor at the end of the day. Like, this isn't my country. But, you know.
I would say for me, like, this, I don't know how you guys might react to this one, but I find it a little annoying, and it's not to the point where it drives me insane, but, like, I would say when Japanese people speak to me in English, when, I don't, like, not to be rude, like, their English is not good enough to communicate something important to me, but they know I speak Japanese, but yet they still use English because, you know, I'm an English speaker, and even though, like, sure, I'd like them to try using English, if there's something important that you need to address to me, like, just address it to me in Japanese. That way we can solve it as soon as possible. That way we don't have to go through, like, you know, wasting time, like, talking in English. Like, there's something got to be discussed in Japanese. Just, you know, talk to me in Japanese. Let's go over it.
I definitely don't want to say all or even most, but there are definitely a good amount of people here who feel like it's almost like a moral obligation to speak English with foreigners.
Yeah, I feel that too.
I was actually just at Starbucks yesterday, and I walk up to the staff or person at the register, and I'm just like, "Mochikairi de," which means like takeout. And he's all like, "Oh, excuse me, sir. Do you want takeout?" And I'm like, I just said that in Japanese, and I was like, "Ah, espresso no soro." and which means espresso with one shot.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you want an espresso with one shot? And I'm like, why am I speaking to you in Japanese and you're talking back to me in English?
He's translating.
He doesn't need to translate.
That's funny.
I just feel like a good rule of thumb is whatever language someone starts a conversation with you in, just stick to that language if you're able to speak both languages.
I agree.
But if I start a conversation with you in Japanese because you're clearly a native speaker, don't force out English unless you're just insanely fluent in super native level. Yeah, I don't know.
It's it's not like yeah, like I said, it's not. I'm not trying to be super rude or anything like that. But what if it was the other way around? What if a Japanese person came to America and they started speaking to me in English? I just start speaking to them in Japanese. I'm sure
everyone would call you racist. How do you know he speaks Japanese?
He's wearing a Japanese shirt. It has Japan's flag.
No, and I've actually thought about that too. Next time they speak to me in English, I'm just gonna be like, "No, I speak Spanish," just to kind of throw them off.
Or just act like you don't speak English.
I totally get the fact that they studied English in school for probably 20 years or whatever, and they want to practice their English because they don't have a lot of opportunities to use it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not only do you not have an idea of I speak English or not, but I started the conversation in Japanese. Let's just keep it like that.
Yeah, that, and you're in line, and I'm sure there's other people behind you waiting for your order. Him spending that time translating, it's he's wasting precious time for other people behind you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate it when they try to speak English, but I just feel like it should be done in a better way, not feel like it's forced, but it should feel natural.
In their defense, especially where I was yesterday in Tokyo, I would say probably 90% of the foreigners don't speak Japanese. So they're probably used to people approaching them who don't speak Japanese.
Yeah.
So it's just almost like second nature to see a foreigner and instantly start speaking English to them.
Yeah.
Is it right or is it wrong? That's not really for me to decide. I just think that sometimes it can get a little annoying.
Yeah. I would say respond back in Japanese. If I were to speak to a Japanese person or staff at a store or restaurant and I speak to them in Japanese, I want them to, respond back in Japanese. If I don't understand or if I have a hard time understanding, then yeah, sure, try your best to explain to me in English as well, or maybe easier Japanese, but it should go natural, the conversation. Someone starts with Japanese, it should go in Japanese. Like you're saying.
Two people are speaking to each other in their second language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, like I said, you get a lot of that. People like to practice their English.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, it can feel forced sometimes, and I feel like English or even a second language should be spoken in, a natural way that both parties want to actually speak the language, and it's not forced. It feels like you're studying in a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you for sure.
What about you, Clayton, though? What do you think about this?
I don't talk to people.
Does Frosty speak English or Japanese to you?
We talk telepathically. There's no words involved. He just thinks of ideas and I understand them.
But you have a full-time job though. You communicate with people every day. Plus you have the school activity too. How do your interactions go with them?
The English teachers will tell me what we're doing in English. Everyone just speaks to me in English.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
You don't get a student who will say "hey" or "shiranakatta" or "hi" or something like that.
No, yeah, they do. The kids do that, and then I'll just be like, nothing sticks. The language don't stick to me.
Oh,
it's not good.
It's nice that you have people who can actually speak English to you, so you can actually have conversations, right?
Yeah. I mean, we don't, but yeah. No, it's yeah. Man, I should record stuff for myself so I can just remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this episode went all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Clayton, do you want to end this one?
Sure do. Thank you guys for listening. If you want to, you can follow us on all social media platforms under Hello Nihon Pod. If you haven't followed us yet, please follow us wherever you're listening. And if you want to, go ahead and rate and review us at Apple
And
Podcast
subscribe.
and subscribe. But until next time,
Bye.
bye.
Keep your sanity, y'all.
Frosty.